Kurosaki Kai, a prodigy of dual hues known far and wide as the Purple King, and behind his dazzling brilliance stands his older brother. Our protagonist Rei, a boy utterly devoid of color and completely lacking in magic. Clinging to scraps of hope, Rei works as nothing more than a porter in his brother's elite party. That fragile dream shatters the moment they encounter the dungeon boss, Kronos, the god of time and space. With just a single, effortless wave of his divine hand, Rei's desperation ignites something deep within him, an ancient, forbidden power long sealed away, skill drain. And in a final, reckless act of defiance, he dares to steal Kronos' own reality-bending ability. Rewind. The next instant, Rei awakens years in the past, armed with the stolen might of a god and a blazing determination to change fate itself. Completely stunned, Rei struggles to comprehend what just happened. As he glances out the window, an even greater shock grips him. The inverted castle before him still gleams white when it should have been pitch black. He remembers vividly that in his original timeline, the moment it turned completely dark, a sudden realization pierces his thoughts. He truly did steal the rewind ability from Kronos and used it to send himself back through time. Fumbling for his phone, he checks the date to confirm his suspicion. And sure enough, he has returned 7 years into the past. Driven by curiosity, Rei opens his status window, eager to see his list of abilities, only to find the rewind skill gone. Yet, despite losing that divine power, Rei smiles, genuinely content with what remains. After all, for 10 long years, all he ever wished for was to possess even a single skill. Just then, a sudden vibration from his phone draws his attention. It's a reminder. The very day marks the match exam. Before he can even breathe a sigh of relief or excitement, he turns to see two familiar faces, Goto and Oik. Both are subordinates of his brother, the same men who had once perished inside Kronos' domain. Goto and Oik mock Rei mercilessly for daring to appear at headquarters to take the mage exam once again. They sneer that no matter how many times he tries, he'll always remain a colorless failure. Unamused by their taunts, Rei smacks their hands aside. Coldly, he tells them to leave him alone. Moments later, he finds himself inside the examiner's office, facing Hinata Reiner, a seasoned B-rank mage. Even Hinata looks weary of seeing Rei's face time after time, warning him that one day his stubbornness might just get him killed. But Rei meets her concern with calm determination, assuring her that this time will be different. With a resigned sigh, Hinata agrees to accompany him to the exam grounds. Having taken the test countless times before, Rei needs no further instruction. His task is simple: collect 3 mana stones from goblins to pass. Yet in the previous timeline, Hinata's encounter with the same monster ended in disaster. She had been beaten so severely that she was forced to retire from her career as a mage. Rei had carried the guilt ever since, blaming himself for the ruin of Hinata's once promising future. Drawing his short sword, Rei steadies himself. The monster charges toward him with incredible speed. As expected, it possesses a skill that boosts its physical prowess, easily deflecting Rei's first strike. Undeterred, Rei throws a heavy punch at the creature's head. The monster snarls, ready to make him pay for his reckless move. But Rei moves faster, slicing the beast cleanly in half from head to toe. Stunned by his own power, Rei marvels at the sheer potency of skill drain. Lost in awe, he snaps back to reality when Hinata shouts at him, demanding to know how he managed to defeat such a monster. Realizing that revealing his black skill could bring trouble, Rei calmly claims it was nothing but luck. Hinata screams in disbelief, calling him out for lying until she remembers that the exam itself should have been cancelled due to the anomaly. Regaining composure, Hinata informs Rei that the entire event must be reported to headquarters. Rei's confidence falters as a wave of unease washes over him. Just as fate would have it, 2 ordinary goblins emerge from the distance, snarling and ready to attack. After swiftly defeating them, Rei bends down to pick up the mana stones they dropped, politely asking Hinata if he's allowed to keep them. But Hinata is too stunned to respond, utterly speechless at what she's just witnessed. Moments later, the 2 of them return to headquarters in silence. Not long after, Hinata appears again, this time holding Rei's mage license. Against all odds, he's been officially granted mage status and placed in C rank. Rei accepts the license with trembling hands and allows himself a faint, relieved smile. Hinata proceeds to explain the details regarding the exchange value of the mana stones he collected. Apparently, these stones serve as a valuable energy source that produces no COWSH missions. Besides powering the world, they can also be sold directly to the Mage Association for profit. Rei then muses that defeating a redcap, an A-rank monster, would surely yield a handsome reward. He opens the payment report and nearly yells in disbelief at the staggering amount listed. The bounty for the redcap alone stands at a jaw-dropping 3 million. Hinata quickly warns him not to lose his composure just yet. Defeating one monster doesn't make him rich overnight. Still, Rei remains stunned, realizing for the first time that mages earn far more than he ever imagined. His curiosity piqued, he begins asking Hinata about the dungeons themselves. He can hardly believe it. Once upon a time, he wasn't even allowed to enter a dungeon solo. But now, with the power of skill drain coursing through him, things are different. Even so, Oik and Goto soon show up again, mocking him mercilessly for planning to enter a dungeon alone, warning that it's against the rules. With a scornful look, Rei glares at them and firmly states that he's authorized. He passed the official mage exam fair and square. Goto steps closer, summoning a mana hand to shove Rei's head down, taunting him to prove that he's truly awakened if he dares. But Rei isn't one to cower under pressure. Fueled by anger, he slams his forehead forward, headbutting Goto with full force. The mana restraint placed on him shatters in that instant, and Rei turns the tables by grabbing Goto using the very same magic that had bound him. Refusing to back down, Oik conjures a fireball and hurls it at Rei in retaliation. Rei calmly activates his enhancement skill, slicing through the fiery projectile in one clean motion. He closes the distance in a flash and lands a blow that sends Oik flying across the room. Groaning in pain, Oik looks up and asks in disbelief whether Rei has become a dual-colored mage. Rei simply shakes his head and replies, "Number." At that exact moment, his skill drain ability activates again, this time absorbing Oik's fireball technique. With that, Rei gains yet another color, expanding his power even further. Oik's jaw nearly hits the floor. He's never seen or even heard of a mage possessing 3 distinct colors. To prove his dominance, Rei fires a blazing fireball straight at them, stopping it inches from their faces. He then asks coolly if they still wish to fight. The two exchange terrified glances before, bolting away with their tails between their legs. Once they're gone, Rei takes a moment to assess his progress. He recalls that his brother Kai has already achieved level 50, making him one of the strongest mages in the modern age. Determined to catch up, Rei begins preparing himself for the trials ahead. He knows that leveling up grants new skills and expands a mage's mana pool, increasing both the total amount and control of one's magical energy. While exploring a dungeon, Rei is suddenly ambushed by a powerful foe, a level 38 flame wizard. The sight terrifies him, especially since he can barely summon a single fireball of his own. The wizard's overwhelming strength is due to the vast difference in their levels, and though Rei manages to block one blast, he's forced to dodge desperately as several more fireballs rain down. Realizing that a direct fight would be suicide, Rei changes tactics. He rushes forward and delivers a crushing punch that staggers the flame wizard. But before Rei can counterattack fully, the wizard unleashes a massive burst of fire, overwhelming Rei in a storm of blazing heat and obliterating him with sheer firepower. Once the flame wizard falls, Rei is instantly bombarded with a flurry of glowing system notifications. Though facing higher-ranked monsters proves incredibly difficult, Rei quickly realizes that his skill drain ability gives him a distinct advantage. With renewed determination, he cuts his way deeper into the dungeon, clearing every path that stands before him. Before long, he reaches level 27, but he starts noticing that each level up comes slower, the grind becoming increasingly demanding. Rei concludes that to push through to level 30, he'll need to take a far bigger risk. So, he ventures into the deepest part of the dungeon, eventually discovering the boss room. A faint smile crosses his face. This is exactly the challenge he's been searching for. Stepping through the ominous door, Rei immediately tenses up upon seeing the skull demon, realizing that stealing its abilities might be the only way to win. Without hesitation, he charges toward the skull demon, aiming to land the first strike. But to his surprise, a powerful mana barrier flares up around the monster, completely blocking his skill drain from activating. The demon retaliates with a vicious swing, nearly tearing Rei's head off, but he narrowly dodges in time. Feeling the surge of killing intent, Rei realizes he must think fast and act smarter if he wants to survive this fight. Timing his move perfectly, he manages to steal the Ice Needle skill from the creature. Now armed with this chilling new technique, he unleashes a precise barrage that shatters the demon's mana barrier entirely. Yet, before he can celebrate, the fallen imp is suddenly resummoned by the skull demon's necromantic power. Rei wastes no time cutting it down again, earning himself another level up. Then, without pausing, he combines the Ice Needle with his fireball skill. The red and blue energies fuse together, forming a blazing fire lance, which he hurls straight at the skull demon. The demon conjures another barrier as usual, but this time the fire lance pierces through, weakening its defenses. Seizing the moment, Rei breaks through and lands a devastating punch. In that same instant, he drains yet another ability: Extreme Body Enhancement. The skull demon stands there, utterly disoriented, its power stripped away. Flames consume its body as Rei finishes the fight, engulfing the monster completely. Breathing heavily, Rei exhales in relief. He's triumphed over the boss thanks to his skill synthesis ability. He learns that this new technique allows mages to merge 2 or more skills to create even more powerful ones. And apparently, it becomes available only after reaching around level 30. Exactly what Rei had been aiming for. He's thrilled to have achieved it just in time. As he basks in victory, a fresh system alert pops up before him. Rei smiles confidently, knowing that from here on out, his journey will only grow easier. After leaving the dungeon, he heads straight to headquarters to submit the green mana stone he acquired. Hinata is completely blown away when she learns that Rei actually defeated a skull demon, and that he's already reached level 33 in just a single day. Rei rubs the back of his neck and laughs nervously, insisting that he merely got lucky. Hinata, however, tells him that with his current level, he already qualifies to become a B-rank mage. Just then, a deep and familiar voice echoes from behind, its presence heavy and intimidating. The voice belongs to none other than Kai, his brother, who glares in disbelief, claiming there must be some mistake. There's no way Rei could be B-rank, Kai sneers, calling Rei a colorless nobody with zero talent. But Hinata steps forward in defense, declaring that Rei truly defeated both the Red Cap and the Skull Demon. Kai responds with a sudden, forceful punch straight to Rei's chest, testing his reflexes. Yet he does it with a faint smile, as if daring his brother to prove him wrong. Rei instinctively raises his arm, activating his newfound ability to block the strike. Kai's eyes widen slightly. He finally accepts that the rumors are true. His brother really has awakened. Still, he isn't entirely impressed. With a sharp grin, Kai warns Rei to watch his back, eager to see for himself just how far his little brother's newfound power can take him. Hinata quickly notices the careless gleam in Kai's eyes, prompting her to ask if he's seriously preparing to start a fight. Kai smirks and replies that there shouldn't be any problem if Rei truly deserves his supposed B-rank title. Unless, of course, Rei is nothing but a false mage who somehow cheated his way up the ranks. Hearing that, Rei quietly decides to accept Kai's challenge head-on. The response catches Kai off guard, both surprising and infuriating him at the same time. The two brothers then make their way to the headquarters arena, ready to settle their long-standing rivalry once and for all. As they take their positions, Rei reminds himself to control his mana output carefully. His opponent is far stronger, and a single mistake could cost him everything. He also knows he must stay vigilant at all times. His max combo consists of only 3 basic skills, while Kai can effortlessly chain up to 5. With those odds alone, Rei knows that a direct confrontation would be suicide. To even the odds, he'll need to pull off something special. Kai launches the first move. Fireballs flare into existence, roaring across the arena. Using the explosion's flash to his advantage, Rei blinds his brother's vision and instantly closes the distance, activating body enhancement, stunning Kai completely. Kai's eyes widen in shock as he realizes that his once colorless brother has become a dual-color wielder. Meanwhile, Rei begins mentally calculating how much mana Kai has left. 1 skill already used, several more to go. As he steps closer, tension thickens in the air. But then Rei's expression shifts to horror as his Fire Lance, which costs 2 full skill slots of mana, is effortlessly dispelled by Kai's simple counterattack. Kai chuckles mockingly, telling Rei that maybe he's capable of handling 3 skill colors if he's lucky. He then hurls another fireball, the Crimson Blast tearing straight toward Rei. Rei erects his mana barrier, but it's no match against Kai's overwhelming power. Knocked to the ground, Rei watches as Kai strides forward confidently, telling him to bow his head in respect, promising to forget everything that just happened if he obeys. But Rei refuses. He knows that surrendering now would mean living the rest of his life as a slave to his brother's shadow. Driven by sheer resolve, he pushes himself up from the floor. With a defiant scream, he declares that he will never bow to Kai again. Kai's calm composure shatters. Rage flickers in his eyes. He immediately activates Overlock, a forbidden skill that consumes massive amounts of mana but doubles the user's mana control and capacity. Yet, this is precisely what Rei had been waiting for. The move he'd anticipated all along. Kai taunts him, asking mockingly if he actually thinks he can dodge his next attack midair. But Rei activates Mana Hand instead, catching Kai completely off guard. His brother hadn't expected another ability. Rei weaves between the incoming fireballs and closes the distance in an instant. Kai, still stuck in his cooldown phase, can't react in time as Rei drives a heavy punch straight into his face. The impact sends Kai flying across the arena, crashing hard into the barrier walls. In that moment, Rei's skill drain triggers again, this time stealing the Overlock skill itself. A faint smile forms on Rei's face. He's beyond satisfied with the outcome, having turned Kai's own power against him. But Kai isn't finished yet. Snarling, he summons the Demon Lance, his most destructive skill. Rei braces himself as the dark, seething lance hurtles toward him with killing intent. The weapon tears through the air, wreaking havoc across the arena, yet Kai shows no sign of stopping. Desperate, Rei conjures his own fire lance to counter the attack, but Kai's demonic weapon completely overpowers it, shattering Rei's spell with brutal force. The explosion throws Rei back violently, slamming him against the arena wall as he lets out a pained scream. Kai laughs darkly, mocking him, declaring that this is why he alone is known as the Purple King. Gritting his teeth, Rei can't deny the truth. Kai's Demon Lance really is one of the strongest abilities in existence. Standing over his fallen brother, Kai warns him not to get arrogant just because he's learned a few extra tricks. But in that moment, realization strikes Rei. If he can unlock the hidden potential of his purple synthesis, the entire fight could shift in his favor. Until now, his skill synthesis limit had been restricted to 2 colors. But with the Overlock boosting his mana capacity, everything changes. Power surges through him as he feels a new possibility awaken, the ability to synthesize beyond his limits. Watching this unfold, Kai's confidence falters for the first time. He senses danger but has no idea what Rei is planning. Then, before anyone can react, Ray does the impossible, combining every ounce of mana within him. The surge spirals into a void of pure darkness, transforming into something never seen before. Black mana, leaving Kai completely speechless, his mouth hanging open in shock. In essence, the mana colors that exist are red, yellow, and blue. Ray had always been told that he lacked affinity with any of these three, but unbeknownst to everyone, they were all mistaken. Ray belongs to an entirely different and exceptionally rare category, a dark mage, something unheard of throughout the history of mages. By combining all three elemental colors, he manifests the Abyss Flame, a power that radiates an ominous, lethal glow. Ray spots the demonic lance and hurls the Abyss Fireball straight at it, obliterating the weapon in a single, devastating strike. With the demon lance destroyed, Ray charges toward Kai with fierce determination. Kai quickly summons another enormous demon lance, bracing himself for Ray's next attack. But Ray's fireball engulfs the summoned weapon entirely, consuming it in roaring flames. The explosion that follows is massive, sending Kai flying and knocking him out cold. Ray can hardly believe what just happened as he gasps, collapsing to the ground in utter disbelief that he has actually defeated Kai. At that moment, a system notification appears before him. It informs Ray that he has successfully acquired the Abyss Flame, all due to the synthesis of his skills. Moments later, Hinata approaches him, still visibly stunned. She demands to know what kind of skill he just unleashed. Ray already feels uneasy, knowing full well that he won't be able to conceal his power forever. He admits that it seems to be a black skill. After all, Ray is the very first user of a black skill. He then asks Hinata whether he's required to report the true nature of his ability to the association, expressing that he would prefer to keep it a secret between them. Hinata, taken aback, tells Ray that he's passing up a golden opportunity. Ray raises an eyebrow, wondering what kind of opportunity she means. She clarifies that since there's no one else with his kind of power, Ray takes a moment to think it over, and although the offer sounds appealing, he ultimately tells Hinata that he will decline for now. Ray is aware that he's still too weak, not yet fit to be called a king. He then asks Hinata whether Kai will be alright. Hinata reassures him that Kai, being one of the kings, will recover soon despite his serious injuries. Suddenly, their phones buzz with an emergency alert, and when Ray checks it, he learns that a new dungeon has emerged at the western entrance of Ikebukuro Park. It's classified as a level 70 dungeon, even though most of the kings are only around level 50. Within the first week of its appearance, they realize just how underpowered they truly are. However, Ray resolves to prevent history from repeating itself, no matter the cost. Hinata nearly loses her footing when Ray boldly declares his intention to conquer the dungeon. Since there's still some time before the dungeon outbreak, Ray asks if the A-rank promotion exam is still scheduled for next week. Hinata confirms that it is. Hearing that, Ray confidently declares that by the time the next examination arrives, he will have risen to A rank. Hinata is taken aback by his determination, yet she can't deny that with his current skills, Ray genuinely stands a chance of passing the exam. Still, there's a trace of concern in her tone, prompting Ray to ask what's wrong. Hinata explains that in order to take the A-rank promotion test, he must first clear a B-rank dungeon with a party, meaning he needs to form a group and complete a B-rank raid first. Ray freezes for a moment, realizing he had completely forgotten that requirement. Now he's left deep in thought, trying to figure out how to get himself out of this predicament. Just then, he overhears a group of mages berating one of their teammates for being too weak. The scene strikes a nerve in Ray, reminding him of how he was once treated like garbage, the outcast no one wanted. The poor girl's teammates are relentless, openly calling her dead weight. When Ray hears the name Aya, something important clicks in his mind. It dawns on him that this same Aya will one day be known as the Scarlet King. Despite her current weakness, Ray feels a pang of disappointment seeing how cruelly her party members treat her. Aya pleads with her team, explaining that she can't afford to be expelled because she needs the money for her sister's medical bills. The party leader coldly tells her that she'll judge her performance during today's dungeon raid, and if she fails, she's out for good. Aya nervously agrees, her hands trembling. She and her party then head out toward the dungeon, but Ray can't shake the feeling that something bad is about to happen. He knows that Aya will eventually become the Scarlet King in the future. Determined to stop any tragedy before it begins, Ray decides that he must intervene. Standing before them is a level 45 monster. Aya quickly reminds her party leader that she can't possibly defeat the creature on her own, but the leader coldly declares that if Aya can't handle the boss by herself, she'll be kicked out of the team immediately. Trapped by the cruel ultimatum, Aya finds herself cornered with no choice but to obey. The rest of the party watches with mocking amusement as Aya steps forward toward the boss and launches a fireball straight at it. Her fireball strikes its mark, hitting the monster dead on. The creature retaliates instantly, slamming its massive sword into the ground, sending a violent shockwave that tears through the earth and forces Aya backward with tremendous force. Ray quickly turns toward her to make sure she's unharmed, but it turns out that Ray had pushed the monster away like it was nothing, his strength overwhelming. He isn't surprised that the creature survived the hit though, because the Dullahan's armor is reinforced by an advanced strengthening enchantment, rendering normal attacks completely ineffective. Determined to end this, Ray takes a daring leap toward the monster, risking everything just to make contact. He manages to touch the creature's armor and instantly activates his skill drain ability. But before the monster can retaliate, Rei is forced to leap backward to avoid being cleaved in two. Returning to Aya's side, she anxiously asks if he's alright. Rei assures her that he's fine, explaining that he managed to block the monster's strike with his sword. He then notes that for skill drain to truly work, he needs to touch the monster's internal core directly. Suddenly, the Dullahan drives its greatsword into the ground, unleashing an immense surge of energy that ripples through the entire battlefield. Rei quickly casts a mana barrier, successfully blocking the devastating energy blast. To their surprise, the Dullahan withstands the counterattack and immediately retaliates, launching a blow that the female mage cannot evade in time. Realizing that ordinary attacks are futile against the Dullahan's armor, Rei concludes that he needs a skill powerful enough to surpass its strengthening enchantment. Without hesitation, he decides to unleash his Abyss Flame, conjuring a swirling orb of black fire. Rei then hurls the dark flame directly at the armored monster. The Abyss Flame proves to be far too overwhelming for the creature to withstand. Using his mana hand, Rei immobilizes the Dullahan, ensuring that the black flames consume it completely. Within seconds, the monster disintegrates into dust under the immense power of the Abyss Flame. Meanwhile, Aya stands frozen, utterly stunned by Rei's terrifying display of strength. She can hardly believe that he managed to defeat such a monster with a single, decisive strike. Nervously, she bows her head and thanks Rei for saving her life. Her arrogant party leader finally regains her footing, glaring daggers at Rei, clearly infuriated. But she quickly realizes just how powerful Rei truly is. She approaches him, ready to negotiate. But before she can speak, Rei calmly states that in exchange for his help, he wants Aya to join his party. Both the party leader and Aya are left stunned by the unexpected demand. The leader lightly taps Aya on the shoulder, asking whether she's truly okay with such an arrangement. Taking the monster's core stone for herself, the leader smirks as she walks away, remarking that she's made a great deal by trading away a useless party member. Aya, however, doesn't feel angered. Instead, she's filled with doubt, believing she'll only hold Rei back. But Rei gently reassures her that she has nothing to fear, that she will grow stronger, far stronger than those who abandoned her. Aya is stunned to hear this, unable to imagine herself ever becoming powerful. Rei softly adds that he didn't mean to offend her with his words. Moved by her story, Rei tells Aya that he'll be her support moving forward. Aya smiles faintly, telling Rei that she's willing to place her trust in his care. Rei grins in return, realizing he's just struck gold by gaining a truly promising ally. The very next day, Rei and Aya prepare themselves to challenge a B-rank dungeon. Together, they step into the entrance of the dungeon, their determination unwavering. But before proceeding further, Rei instructs Aya to stay behind while he handles the monsters on his own. Rei charges straight toward the swarm of monsters, activating his extreme body enhancement skill just before reaching them. With incredible precision, he slices through each creature one after another, leaving no time for them to react. Aya watches in astonishment, unable to comprehend just how overwhelmingly strong Rei truly is. His power seems almost unreal. But Rei doesn't let his guard down. He's determined not to let anything interfere with Aya's progress or the future she's working toward. Inspired by him, Aya steals her resolve, determined to rise to the standard Rei is setting for her. Yet suddenly, Rei notices that the level of firepower she's unleashing is far greater than he anticipated. Aya's flames consume the entire chamber, painting everything in shades of crimson until the massive slime boss is reduced to nothing but molten remains. After the boss is defeated, Rei walks over to her and sincerely praises her for an excellent performance. Aya lets out a breath of disbelief before laughing joyfully. Never in her life had she imagined herself capable of such incredible strength. Deep down, though, Rei feels restless. He's more eager than ever to take the upcoming exam and pass. It's something he simply must accomplish. When the day of the A-rank examination finally arrives, Rei and Aya head to the association, where Hinata explains that their combat capabilities will first be measured and then they'll be paired for a mock battle. Rei is fully prepared to give it his all and pass, determined to achieve A-rank status and move forward with his next plan. Aya, equally excited, tells Rei to do his best to not hold back, but soon the atmosphere sours when Aya's former party leader Isoyama appears. Isoyama and her group mock Aya mercilessly for daring to take the exam. Rei steps forward immediately, defending Aya by declaring that she won't lose to cowards like them. Isoyama scoffs, laughing at Rei and taunting him, saying she has far better teammates than the useless Aya. Just then, one of her so-called superior party members steps into view. The figure turns out to be a woman, Aono Yuri. Apparently, Yuri is famous for having once single-handedly cleared a deadly dungeon without breaking a sweat. That legendary feat catapulted her to fame among the mage community. From what Rei can sense, Yuri's mana output alone makes it clear that she's already at, or at least close to, A-rank level. Yuri approaches Rei, her eyes glinting with curiosity, and remarks that he seems like a rather interesting individual. Her comment catches Rei completely off guard, leaving him momentarily speechless. He's surprised by how far his reputation has spread among the mages. He hadn't realized people were already talking about him. Aya, equally stunned, blurts out in disbelief, asking if it's true that Rei actually defeated Kai. Turning back toward Rei, Yuri smirks and says that while he may be impressive, he still doesn't stand a chance against her. She adds that the Purple King, Kai, is weaker than she is, an audacious claim that leaves several bystanders murmuring. Soon after, all the mages gather at the training center to test their combat skills against an artificial golem designed by the association. The golem's body is covered in a unique mineral harder than ordinary stone, and the mages are encouraged to attack it with full force. Rei is the first to be called forward to demonstrate his abilities. Standing confidently before the towering golem, he conjures a blazing fireball in his hand. He knows well that ordinary fire magic should be useless against something so heavily fortified, yet when he releases the spell, the fireball detonates with immense power, shattering the golem's head completely. Smoke billows across the arena as the proctor inspects the motionless construct, and upon finding no reaction, he officially declares the golem defeated. Yuri watches in genuine admiration, impressed by how Rei managed to fuse two elemental forces into an even more potent form of magic. As Aya steps up to take her turn with the crystal testing orb, her former teammates snicker mockingly in the background. They sneer that she should be ashamed for even showing up to take the exam. Isoyama looks on in disbelief, unable to accept what she's seeing. Aya, though nervous, maintains her composure as she prepares to face Isoyama in battle. Isoyama, on the other hand, can't wait to humiliate Aya publicly, but before Isoyama can even grasp what's happening, Aya's attack begins, and Isoyama instantly senses the terrifying energy radiating from Aya's fireball. In panic, she casts a mana barrier, praying it will protect her from the oncoming blast. Yet Aya's fiery assault doesn't let up for even a second. The flames continue to rage with unstoppable intensity. As usual, Isoyama resorts to cowardice, trying to flee from the battlefield, but a chunk of debris from Aya's explosion smashes into the back of her head, knocking her to the ground. Rei walks over, congratulating Aya for a job well done. Aya smiles brightly, unable to believe she actually won. Yuri remains composed as she steps forward, telling Rei to join her in the arena for their match. The two enter the ring, tension thick in the air as they face each other. Yuri tilts her head slightly and asks Rei if there's any special reason behind his decision to take the A-rank exam. Rei remains completely silent. Yuri observes him carefully and notes that he seems far more composed and prepared than the other participants. She then releases a suffocating surge of aura, reminding Rei just how terrifyingly strong she really is. But Rei calmly assures her that he's well aware of her strength, yet he's confident that victory will still be his. Amused by his unshaken confidence, Yuri decides it's time to put words aside. She takes the initiative, unleashing a barrage of mana blades aimed straight at Rei. The assault is immensely powerful, nearly overwhelming him completely, but he manages to evade the onslaught just in time. However, Rei grows weary of staying on the defensive and shifts gears to attack instead. He charges toward her, but Yuri counters swiftly, firing a series of long-range strikes, which Rei blocks with his mana barrier. Then, without hesitation, Rei closes the distance between them, swinging his sword with all his strength in a bold attempt to decapitate her. Yet Yuri leaps backward just in time, and while she's still airborne, Rei can't help but worry. Her defenses seem nearly unbreakable. There's no denying she's incredibly strong. Without giving him time to think, Yuri retaliates by firing several long-range beams directly at him. Rei dashes across the arena, narrowly dodging each attack as he moves. He slices through every projectile she launches his way, leaving Yuri visibly stunned. She admits that it's her first time witnessing someone capable of wielding 3 different colors of mana. Activating her unique skill, she manifests a gleaming scythe from her primary ability and suddenly disappears right before Rei's eyes. In the blink of an eye, she reappears behind him. Rei nearly loses his head but manages to spin around just in time to block the deadly strike. The sheer force of her attack sends him flying backward, and he's struck by how impossibly fast Yuri is. He can barely believe the magnitude of power this girl possesses, and realizing he can't hold back any longer, he decides to unleash his full strength. But Yuri only mocks him, laughing at what she sees as a futile effort. Yet in that very moment, she lets her guard down and Rei spots the perfect opening. He drives his blade straight into her chest. Yuri gasps and coughs in pain as she collapses to the ground. The duel concludes, and Rei is officially declared the winner. When Yuri regains consciousness, she finds Rei and Aya standing beside her, both relieved and happy to see her awake. She admits her defeat without hesitation, confessing that she never expected Rei to be this strong. With genuine humility, Rei bows his head slightly and asks Yuri if she would consider joining his party. Before he can finish speaking, Yuri bursts into laughter, amused by his earnestness. After a moment, she tells Rei she doesn't mind following his lead. Overjoyed, Rei smiles and extends his hand, and the two shake to seal their new alliance. But as soon as their handshake ends, the ground begins to tremble, reminding Rei of the earthquakes from his previous life, the very same ones that had occurred right before the Ikebukuro dungeon collapsed. He realizes that they're running out of time. The dungeon break is imminent. Though he knows how dangerous the dungeon is, Rei concludes that they have no choice left but to face it head on. He turns to the two girls and calmly explains his plan to conquer the dungeon. His words leave both of them completely terrified. They remind him that the Ikebukuro dungeon is the most dangerous in the region, far too perilous for just 3 people. Yuri asks if his plan is truly based on the earthquake they just experienced. Rei nods, admitting that he has a bad feeling about what's coming. Still, Yuri doesn't seem to care much about the details. She simply states that she'll follow wherever Rei leads. Seeing Yuri's determination, Aya quickly pledges her support as well. Rei is deeply grateful and thanks both of them for standing by him. The next day, Rei and his newly formed party submit an official request to Hinata, declaring their intent to conquer the Ikebukuro dungeon. Their request gets officially approved, and the trio head straight for the dungeon entrance. Being the wild spirit she is, Yuri is practically buzzing with excitement, eager to dive into the challenge ahead. Aya points out that it would have been safer if they had more people to assist, but Rei explains that it's impossible. The association strictly limits the number of A-rank mages that can be dispatched. He adds that it would have been great if someone named Oikawa could have joined them. Before the regression, Oikawa was widely recognized as one of the strongest mages in all of Japan. Rei worries deeply that Kronos might resurface if the dungeon break occurs, and with that fear in mind, he resolves to make absolutely sure that it never happens. Before stepping inside, the girls insist that Rei drop the formalities and just call them by their regular names. Not wanting to waste any more time, Rei agrees with a small smile. Together, the trio steps into the depths of the dungeon. The first monster they encounter is a towering level 71 skull demon. Without hesitation, they slice the creature clean in half. After a brief silence, Rei finally speaks up, revealing that he possesses an ability known as Skill Drain. He explains that with just a touch, he can steal another person's skill and temporarily make it his own. At that moment, realization strikes Yuri. She finally understands what had happened during their duel, but Rei calmly assures her that he already returned her skill afterward. Yuri then grasps the true reason Rei wanted them to take on this dungeon. She concludes that as long as Rei is leading them, they'll be safe no matter what comes their way. Encouraged by that thought, the group pushes deeper into the dungeon's interior. Before long, they reach the entrance to the boss's chamber. Rei informs Aya that they've both gained levels on the way here, and with that power boost, he believes they now have a real chance to win. Aya admits that his assessment makes sense and agrees with his reasoning, but before she can finish speaking, something massive suddenly emerges from behind them. Rei quickly tells Yuri that things may look grim, but they can't back down. They have to save Aya no matter what. He yells out to Aya, asking if she's alright. At the same time, worry creeps into him. Aya might have a large mana reserve, but even that has its limits. Rei tells Yuri that he'll do everything he can to draw the monster's attention while she focuses on rescuing Aya. With that quick plan in place, the two charge forward fearlessly. Rei positions himself directly in front of the creature and barely dodges a deadly tentacle strike. The impact alone shatters the ground beneath him, leaving him stunned. Just when he thinks he's safe, another tentacle whips around from behind. Fortunately, Rei manages to escape the tight spot at the last second, utilizing his technique known as Mono Hand. Meanwhile, in the chaos, Yuri seizes her chance to close the distance with the monster. She swings her scythe with full force, hoping to land a critical hit, but the blade bounces off harmlessly. That's when they both realize the horrifying truth. The monster possesses a strengthening skill. Normally, tentacle-type monsters are known for weak defenses, and this is the first time Rei has ever encountered one that can actually reinforce itself. Soon, both Yuri and Rei find themselves running dangerously low on mana. Completely drained from the numerous battles they've fought up to this point, Rei shouts to Aya, ordering her to unleash her mana fusion skill on them. He understands why the others doubt the ability. After all, in his past life, that same skill had been considered practically useless. But thanks to a certain brilliant mage, its true potential had eventually been revealed. To Yuri's surprise, she notices that her mana is beginning to stabilize and recover. Rei only smiles knowingly. He understands the secret behind mana fusion. The skill allows the user's mana to be shared among allies, but it's a technique only mages with vast mana pools can properly master. Gathering all her remaining energy, Aya releases it, pouring every bit of her mana into her teammates to empower them. When she finishes, she weakly tells the two that the rest is up to them now. Fueled by her sacrifice, Rei and Yuri become fiercely determined to end this fight once and for all. They ready themselves to rip the monster apart, driven by the will to save their friend and survive together. With their mana now fully restored, the trio begins tearing through the remaining monsters, obliterating them one after another. Rei urges Yuri to keep up the relentless pace so they can reach and save Aya as quickly as possible. However, Rei quickly realizes that, at this rate, they won't make it to her in time. Gathering all his focus, Rei thanks Yuri for the cover and sprints toward Aya with sheer determination blazing in his eyes. Every step he takes radiates pure fury. He finally reaches Aya and slices through the monstrous tentacle that had her bound, freeing her from its grasp. Without wasting a moment, Rei kneels beside her to make sure she's unharmed. Yuri rushes over soon after, praising Aya and telling her that her skill quite literally saved their lives. Yuri admits that Aya has far more courage and composure than she initially thought. Though they've managed to rescue Aya, their mission is far from over. The monster still needs to be defeated. Realizing the immense challenge before them, Yuri clenches her weapon, fully aware that this will not be easy. But Rei turns to her and calmly says that she should leave the rest to him. Despite her doubts, Yuri decides to trust him and lets him do things his way. Rei charges straight toward the massive creature, declaring that he's going to end it right here. Yuri's eyes widen in shock as she sees Rei running directly at the monster without even holding a weapon. The beast regenerates one of its massive tentacles in an attempt to stop him, but Rei strikes with unmatched precision, ripping its head apart in a single, devastating blow. The monster collapses with a thunderous crash, shaking the entire chamber. Just before debris comes crashing down, Rei manages to pull Yuri out of harm's way. As they sprint toward the exit, Rei silently hopes that they'll make it out alive. Suddenly, a commanding voice cuts through the chaos, ordering them to stand aside. The source of the voice is none other than the legendary Oikawa Hikaru. The girls are stunned when Oikawa introduces himself, especially since Rei had mentioned his name before they even entered the dungeon. Rei admits that Oikawa is the very person he had hoped to have on their team from the start. Oikawa, being an S-rank mage, easily outclasses everyone present in both power and skill. Rei knows full well that without Oikawa's timely arrival and barrier magic, they all would have been wiped out. Oikawa smirks and winks at them, saying he's glad he made it just in time to save their skins. He explains that Hinata was the one who contacted him about the situation. Then, to Rei's surprise, Oikawa tells him that he already knows who he is. But Oikawa quickly adds that there's no need for alarm. He's simply curious and interested in Rei's potential. Relieved, Rei thanks Oikawa sincerely for coming to their aid. Oikawa smiles and compliments him, saying he pulled off something truly remarkable. He tosses the dungeon's monostone toward Rei, who barely manages to catch it before it hits the ground. With a grin, Oikawa says he's looking forward to seeing what Rei accomplishes next. Later, when they finally return to the association headquarters, Hinata spots them entering and immediately starts shouting, demanding to know if they're all safe. She had been worried sick after noticing how long the team had been inside the dungeon. Hinata scolds Rei harshly for diving into such a high-level dungeon right after submitting his application, especially since it was far more dangerous than any other. She then asks how far they managed to get, assuming they'd only cleared the entrance floor. To everyone's shock, Rei calmly reports that they've conquered the entire dungeon. The staff and other mages are completely stunned, screaming in disbelief. When speaking to the press, Aya proudly announces that she now has enough money to pay for her sister's medical treatment, and she gratefully thanks Rei for giving her that chance. Isoyama and her team can't hide their bitterness as they watch the news unfold. The same goes for Kai, who is equally frustrated by the outcome. Word of Rei's achievement spreads like wildfire across the country, especially since he was once dismissed as colorless. Group chats explode with people tagging friends and calling each other out, many of them suggesting they all owe Rei an apology for ever doubting him. And while the world celebrates Rei's victory, he's already deep in thought, focused on one thing, figuring out how to become even stronger. Since Rei managed to conquer the dungeon with the help and support of others, his victory wasn't solely his own doing. 3 days later, Rei makes his way to the association after receiving a summons. The message said there was something important he needed to hear in person. When Hinata reveals that they've received an official request to conquer a particular dungeon, Rei and the girls are stunned. Aya can hardly believe it, pointing out that they've only just become rank mages. Normally, mages request dungeon explorations themselves, but being offered one directly is something the association reserves for only a select few. Hinata smiles at Rei, saying everyone is counting on him, but Rei disagrees, insisting that the whole team is needed for this mission. Rei then asks Hinata who submitted the request, but she explains she can't tell him. The higher-ups ordered her to keep it confidential. As expected, Yuri wants to accept right away simply because the mission sounds exciting. Rei eventually agrees, reasoning that since it came to the association, there's no reason to suspect anything strange. Not long after, they encounter someone along the way, and to their greatest surprise, it turns out to be Oikawa. Oikawa cheerfully remarks that he's looking forward to this mission, adding that the entire world will be watching them. Aya can't believe how carefree Oikawa seems, and Rei agrees with her, though he reminds her that despite his attitude, Oikawa is still an S-rank mage. Apparently, the scout team reported encountering a massive wall of fire blocking their path. Curious, Rei asks how they're supposed to get past such an obstacle. Oikawa confidently reminds them of his barrier skill, assuring them that as long as he's there, that fireball won't pose a problem. Rei notices Oikawa's overconfidence and quietly wonders if he actually believes this dungeon will be that easy. Nevertheless, Rei tells his team to prepare for battle. Suddenly, he catches sight of Oikawa sitting off to the side, fear clearly written across his face. Oikawa nervously tells the trio to handle the monsters themselves, admitting he's not familiar with the kind they're up against. Aya reminds him of his earlier bravado about being the main man, but Rei just instructs his team to focus on the monsters and ignore the cowardly mage. The trio takes their positions and unleash a series of long-range attacks toward the incoming monsters. Rei follows up, finishing off the remaining ones with his blazing fire lance. Once the monsters are defeated, Aya gleefully celebrates alongside Rei. Oikawa expresses his gratitude, thankful that they just saved his life. Suddenly, he activates a spell that traps the defeated creatures inside a square-shaped barrier. Rei and his team stare in astonishment, and Rei asks Oikawa what kind of skill he just used. He's completely amazed. He's heard of this technique before, but this is the first time he's ever seen it with his own eyes. As Rei walks behind him, awe fills him completely. Oikawa truly embodies what an S-rank mage should be. The heat radiating from the flames is intense, felt even from several meters away. Then, Oikawa calmly steps forward. The group follows, walking eagerly through the newly opened passage. Before long, they find another tunnel leading directly to the boss's chamber. Since they've already come this far, Rei suggests that they head into the boss's room. Deep down, Oikawa waits with anticipation, eager to see what Rei is truly capable of. He wants to confirm whether Rei is a fraud or the real deal. Rei complains about the suffocating heat, a clear sign of the immense power the enemy possesses. The boss's mere presence sends a chill down his spine, despite the sweltering air. Oikawa tells Rei that he'll take charge of defense, while Rei and the others focus on offense. Rei acknowledges the plan, though he takes a brief moment to think through their approach. He quickly realizes that Oikawa's barrier might collapse if it takes too many direct hits, so Rei decides he'll have to find another way to bring the monster down. He feints an attack to trick the monster into lowering its guard, then strikes with a decisive, critical blow. Sweat drips down his face from the blistering heat, and he understands that ending the battle swiftly is their only option. Faced with such a desperate situation, Rei orders Yuri and Aya to target the monster's feet instead of its body. The two girls immediately agree to his strategy, and unleash their attacks at the monster's lower limbs. Aya takes it even further by firing off a spell called Stone Bullet that slams directly into its leg. Rei then dashes toward the creature, coating his blade with ice just before impact, leaving Oikawa speechless with awe. Rei delivers another critical strike, completely annihilating the monster. Oikawa is deeply impressed by the teamwork he just witnessed, yet he can tell that Rei is still concealing a portion of his true strength. Oikawa finally admits that he wants to witness Rei's real power. Because of that, he asks Rei to defeat the monsters sealed inside his magical box. He assures him that if things get out of hand, he'll reseal them instantly, but it will be up to Rei to give the command. And as if fate itself intended it, Rei's greatest fear becomes reality. From within the box, Kronos slowly and ominously emerges.